Hey everyone, good morning and good afternoon, and happy Cinco de Mayo. My name is Niraj Periwal. I'm the Product Marketing Manager here at eFolder and your host for today's webinar. Welcome to the eFolder Expert Series / Quick Take. This webinar series brings together experts from eFolder staff and partner community for deep dive discussions on key service, business, and technical topics. Today's presentation is Cinco ways to optimize file sync for security and profit. This is the first of eFolder's Quick Take webinar series, where we're going to try to give you everything you need to know in 30 minutes or less, so that you can get all the information you need before getting on with the rest of your day. Today we're joined by Matt Dugan, Product Manager of Anchor here at eFolder. Now before I go into today's agenda, let me cover a few housekeeping items. Today's session is being recorded. The recorded version of the webinar, along with the slides, will be made available to those who registered or are attending today's event. With over 120 people registered, we put all participants in listen-only mode. You may enjoy the audio portion of today's event by either streaming it over your computer or by dialing in over the phone. Now, your questions are strongly encouraged throughout. While we plan a special Q&A section at the end of today's session, you may submit your questions as we go along, and we'll try to address them on the fly. So now let me walk us through today's agenda. Today's webinar, like all good webinars, follows a logical flow. After introducing our expert, Matt Dugan, we're going to walk through some key client needs that are going to shape the way that you deploy file sync and in order to optimize it for your security and profit. We're going to briefly cover eFolder Anchor and discuss why it is the premier file sync solution for MSPs to deploy. And then we're going to quickly go through 5 things that you need to consider in order to optimize your file sync deployment. We're again going to go through a quick roadmap update and then dive into a Q&A section before letting you get back to work. So now I'd like to introduce Matt Dugan, our product manager here at eFolder. Matt, why don't you go ahead and give the audience a little bit of information about yourself?
Yeah, great. Thanks for having me here, Niraj. I'm really excited to share the Cinco ways here. This is a fun time, especially with the holiday here, and just really excited to be able to convey a lot of the Anchor product value that you might be missing or not fully taking advantage of. I've been working with eFolder for several years in various capacities, and just recently I have been the product manager for Anchor for a few years. So very excited to be here. Again, thank you, Niraj.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to be here, Matt. I'm sure your expertise and knowledge is going to be really valuable for everyone who's joined us. So I wanted to walk through a few client needs that your clients frequently have when it comes to file sync, and I think these are going to kind of set the stage for what we're going to talk about today and how you can really optimize file sync to ensure your client security and to ensure your profitability. So the first need that many of your clients have is obviously the need to be able to access and work on files on the go. You know, everyone nowadays has an iPad and a phone and a laptop, and they're trying to get work done not only when they're in the office, but at home, on the train, you know, maybe at coffee shops over the weekend, if they work weekends. So they need to be able to work wherever they are on whatever device they're on. Your clients need to be able to use technology that promotes collaboration. You know, with people working, again, inside the office, outside the office at different times, people need to be able to work with each other, even if they're not physically present in a single location. And file sync and advanced capabilities within business-grade file sync will allow your clients to get work done together, no matter what the time or place. Your clients need to be able to be protected from threats, whether internal or external. So, you know, there's all kinds of things that can hamper productivity and security today. Things like ransomware, CryptoLocker, file loss, you know, incorrect file permissions, and what we want to do with Anchor and with business-grade file sync is allow your clients to work in whatever way they want to without compromising their security or their productivity. Kind of going along that thread, your clients need to be able to control how files and folders are accessed and shared. So they need to be able to make sure that files and folders don't fall into the wrong hands, and they need to be able to leverage things like remote wipe to be able to ensure that, if devices do end up falling into the wrong hands, or maybe if an employee leaves, you're able to remotely wipe all that information and not let your information go astray. And, in general, clients really need a custom-tailored file sync solution built just for them. Now, we have a solution in mind that we call eFolder Anchor, which is our business-grade file sync solution. Now, here's a little bit diagram of how eFolder Anchor works. It's pretty simple. So here we've got a multi-tenant view of how Anchor works from the MSP's point of view. So you've got client A here with a couple users, and they're sharing some files and folders with guest users, and same with client B. So everybody's got a multitude of devices. Maybe they've got a file server that needs to be cloud-enabled, and they need to be able to sync and share everything across all of their users and all of their devices. And all of this sync is taking place thanks to the power of the eFolder cloud. So you as the MSP have a multi-tenant admin dashboard where you can view everything from a bird's eye perspective, what's going on. And of course, the eFolder cloud is really robust. We've got silent data corruption protection. We've got backup for all of your clients' files and folders. Of course, military-grade encryption and encryption in transit and at rest on the server. And a key important feature of Anchor is that it is HIPAA compliant. We will sign BA agreements with all of you, so you can confidently go to any of your medical clients and say, we have a file sync solution that is secure and that you can use to its fullest extent to really enable productivity and mobility. And of course, Anchor is not only HIPAA compliant, but PCI SOX compliant. So whatever industry your clients are in, they can use Anchor to its fullest extent. Now, Anchor is MSP-centric. We built it with IT service providers, MSPs, and VARs in mind. So again, here's a look at the multi-tenant dashboard that you at the MSP have access to. So you can see, all the storage utilization, the different organizations that you're managing, and kind of the nitty-gritty details of your deployments, so you have it all in one place. Now, Anchor is perfectly integrated with ConnectWise and Autotask, two of the leading PSA systems out there. We have Active Directory support, and again, we're HIPAA compliant, so you can deploy it to all of your medical clients with confidence. And Anchor allows you to not only do SaaS deployments, but also private cloud deployments. So for those partners who, for whatever reason, may be uncomfortable with utilizing the public cloud, allow you to host Anchor on your own infrastructure and do all of that file sync and sharing on your own servers. And finally, Anchor is MSP-centric in that it is fully brandable. So we allow you as the MSP to enforce either your branding or the branding of your client. So you can make it seem, this is a custom-built file sync solution just, built by us just for you. And so we really want to empower you to, give this, to give that feel, look and feel to all of your clients. Let's see. So let's go ahead and cover the 5 things fast. Here are the 5 things that we're going to cover in today's webinar. So first, we're going to cover how Anchor lets you deeply brand it to make it your own. We're then going to go over Selective Sync and LAN Sync and how those allow you to optimize your file sync deployment to minimize bandwidth usage and really enable your clients to choose, how your data is synced. We're then going to go over creating shares and managing team shares, utilizing web preview and some of the advanced functionality within that, and consider some other underutilized features in Anchor to really make it optimized for, again, your client's security and your own profitability. So Matt, I'm going to hand it over to you now, and let's quickly go over the 5 things that all of our partners need to consider when deploying Anchor.
Sounds great, Niraj. So as Niraj had indicated with branding strategy, I mentioned the web user interface has custom logo that you can swap out. You can do a slug for the URL. So you can really make it look a lot like it's your product, your company, the face of your business. We have other features that we've recently delivered. That would be the ability to take advantage of HTML formatted emails. You can drop logos, images, formatted text, etc. in alignment that might be directly in line with what your branding strategy is, and that can be through the communications, the emails that the Anchor system is generating externally. So whether it's a guest account that you've created because you're doing external collaboration, or if it's a system-generated email for a share link that might have been created as well. These things will be capable of full branding through HTML formatting. Additionally, you have the option of taking advantage of our recent Microsoft Office integration with local applications. This allows for us to take the eFolder Anchor application and present it within local Microsoft Office applications so that it looks like a storage place or a storage location shortcut. And your brand will be represented within that Microsoft application if you take advantage of our branding features. So that's really awesome to be able to drive it home because we're married in with the Microsoft ecosystem, and we want to make sure that you don't have any problems or gaps, that there is seamless integration between the products. Additionally, we have a fully customizable mobile application opportunity. If that is a requirement for your business, we can talk about providing those services where instead of having the generic tool application out there in the Google Play or iTunes app stores, we would be able to provide an exclusive application that is branded and labeled or named as yours under your own account if need be. So all sorts of branding services and features that we offer. And lastly, if you are a private cloud partner, you could take advantage of the custom style sheets to make the entirety of your front-end user interface for the web look with different color schemes and maybe even fonts. Here we've got a quick graphic and screenshot of a couple logos that are being updated to the web user interface under the branding tab, where you're going to be specifying the application logo for the desktop client, the application logo maybe for the mobile app, splash screens, etc. Things of that nature. And as such, here we have additional information that can be customized here, specifically for company URL, program name, folder name, terms of service, etc. You can get really specific and granular here. We do have requirements, as you see. If you want to go through with customizing branding, you do need to provide a company name and a company URL. Obviously, for obvious reasons, those are the requirements. Now take notice that the icon should be in a .ico file format, so keep that in mind. The other ones, as far as logo and splash screen, we are PNG friendly, no problem.
Awesome. Thanks, Matt. A couple of questions here before we move on to number 2. So John is asking, what is the cost of branding the mobile app? Is there any cost?
Great question. There is an additional cost. There's a one-time fee and a monthly recurring revenue that is required. It comes out to be, I believe, a couple thousand with upfront cost, and then I think maybe $1,200 for MRR. But we do have that in a polished PDF document that is external and able to be shared through the hands of our sales team. So if we do get a specific name there, Niraj, why don't we just take some note? And we'll pass that over to make sure that we reach out with that information after the webinar.
Sure thing. And then another question here from Steven. Does the branding does the branding apply to both on-premises and cloud or SaaS partners?
That's a great question. So right here, what you're looking at is the web user interface. The web user interface is the same whether you're in a private cloud or a SaaS instance. You know, for technical purposes, you could consider our SaaS offering being the eFolder private cloud. So it's our own private cloud on-premise deployment that we are providing the SaaS services through. So it's all the same level of branding. The only additional benefit that you get from a private cloud deployment is the ability to customize your style sheets in a supported fashion. We're not supporting that for SaaS partners at this time.
Great. Okay, awesome. Well, let's move on to number 2 here. Selective Sync and LAN Sync.
Absolutely. So be sure that you're taking advantage of these two key features. They impact significantly on your onboarding time to reduce the scope of impact to that end user, getting them ramped up and getting them productive as quickly as possible. We're here to present opportunities for collaboration and protect your business productivity, and here are some clear-cut examples. So with Selective Sync, we want to invite you that at time of deployment and registration of the desktop client, you will be prompted to make your selections to specify which subfolders do you want to sync the content locally. You can opt out of all of those unnecessary directories that you don't need. Maybe it's the finance spreadsheets that are humongous and immense, or the marketing webinars, and you simply just don't need that stuff stored locally. Opt out of those. Deselect those folders, and maybe you want to specify that design document that you've been working on in that repository of information, and you only need that to sync locally. Or perhaps you're in support and you've got a knowledge base repository that you're working on, and you only want to sync that locally. Now, the benefit of Selective Sync is you can set it at the beginning when you're registering, and then you can also go in at any point in time into the agent properties and modify your configuration. So if for the next week you're going to be traveling and you want to bring some stuff local and save that copy locally, do so. Opt in for that content to sync locally through Selective Sync, and rest assured that that content's going to remain in sync so long as you do have that network connection staying up to date. Similar thing here with LAN Sync. By enabling LAN Sync, you are enabling the opportunity to reduce the true cost of ownership or the total cost of ownership through bandwidth by not having to use a significant amount of external bandwidth because you're operating over the local area network. And on top of that, as far as reducing the onboarding time, it's an efficient process to pull data from a peer that's right within arm's reach over your shoulder, rather than going up to the server and having that stuff come back down.
Yeah, and I really think these features really are so important for optimizing your processing deployment, because it's all about reducing any kind of hesitance that your clients may have about the document processing. You can reassure them that it is going to be as bandwidth, unintensive as possible, and we're going to make sure that you only need access, only when you need access to, you're going to get. So, you're going to reduce the amount of storage space and reduce the bandwidth cost. So it's really all about optimization.
And when you're deploying Anchor, you want to give a little bit of thought to make sure that you're clearly defining the use cases for a team share, and then also just for generation of a share link. And some common ways of defining and establishing separation for use cases and best practices with these two features are: what are you thinking of collaborating for? Is it a short-term period of collaboration, or is it a long-term period of collaboration? And if you think of it in that sense, the long-term collaboration would be more for the permanent team share folder structure, where you're inviting others as true content owners and collaborators over that content, whereas a short-term might be you're maybe collaborating with an external contractor, or you need to share an NDA with someone that you're beginning a conversation with that might only last for a week or two. You want to be able to then use the additional features of that share link with the notify on upload, notify on download, expiration date, and number of download limit, so that if you are sharing something externally, you can specify, if I only have interest in collaborating for an entire week, then I can set this share to expire in a week. If I'm only collaborating with one other person and they only need to download this content once, maybe I set the download limit to 1. You have all sorts of different controls and notifications on the notification of upload and download, so you can know when your collaborator has downloaded this content that you're sharing, or if they've submitted a revision update or even produced new content into a folder that you've shared, if you've provided the share permissions. That's another advantage of using the share links, is that you can set granular permissions on a per user basis for the recipient of that share. So for example, if I'm sharing with Niraj and I would like to grant him the ability to upload and delete, and upload means that he has also the ability to edit over all of the content, so he becomes then a true content owner. And if I also want to maybe invite a member of the audience to join in on this share, I would then specify that they would not be allowed to delete and they would not be allowed to upload, which would reduce their permissions down to read-only, and they would be able to take advantage of our web preview built-in functionality. So as soon as they click the link, they can then click on the file names and it will populate that right then and there, rendered as an HTML5 canvas for viewing in our built-in technology there. So as far as team shares are concerned, we like to see them most commonly used within the organization and also cross-organization for more permanent collaboration with maybe technical partnerships and things like that. And then the short-term ones are used for more control, more security, because you're oftentimes doing short-term collaboration within your company, or you're doing external collaboration outside your company where those security features really jump into and are valuable.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And Matt, there's a question here from Sam who's asking, can we, from the organizational level, can you control like the sharing methods available to employees, or kind
That's a
of
great question.
how they're able to share things?
Absolutely. Fantastic question. At the organizational level, you have policies that you can opt in or opt out of. And these policies are really enforcement over the behavior and the capabilities of your end user clients. Specific to this question, we do have the ability to force all shares within the organization to be a secure share. And what that means is, it doesn't mean that it's password protected, a single share, similar to how Dropbox does, that you have one password that's then shared with 50 people that have access to that content. No, what our secure share does is it forces authentication. So you have to identify yourself and authenticate with our tool as username and password in order to access this content. Now, if you're sharing externally with a guest, for example, we will automatically create an account for that guest so that they can authenticate and log in and verify their identity in order to access this content. So much more secure than actually just password protecting the share. We are forcing authentication prior to access with the secure share method. So there's an org level policy that says all shares within this org need to be in that fashion, a secure share that would require the authentication prior to access. And then we also have the ability to even allow end users to share content. Without the ability to share content, they can't create these share links and can't invite others to collaborate, and that would be controlled and managed at the administrative level. So you would see a very heavy team share focus there, where you're creating content repositories within team shares and managing the subscribers to that content, trusting that that content is not going to be shared through the Anchor tool with anybody outside that you have not approved of. All sorts of controls and policies to protect against that. This is a great question.
Yep. Awesome. Okay, all about security and really optimizing that file sync deployment. Cool. So numero cuatro here is advanced web preview features.
Great. So we've got the web preview tool built in here to our Anchor product, and as many of you all understand, web preview is alleviating the pain of having to download something locally in order to open it up. And so what's required then is local storage and a local application that can read and render that content. So for example, if it's Microsoft Office file format, you would need some Microsoft Office applications locally installed to be able to browse and navigate that content just for viewing purposes. We're not even talking about editing. So what we delivered in Anchor was this robust, feature-rich content viewing experience. The industry understands it as web preview, so we have it labeled as such because it's most intuitive. But this is far beyond web preview. It supports, 100 plus file formats. I've got a laundry list of the file formats that it supports. And in addition to the ability to just preview content and save on the storage and the requirement of a local application for viewing, we also have this additional features and functionality of searching, even with wildcards. We've got these cursor tools which allow you to copy and paste for PDF. The search mechanism is able to extract social security numbers and even postal zip codes and things of that nature, phone numbers. These all important data that you would want to search and then possibly redact later on. And that's one of the things that's on our roadmap that we're going to be delivering as well, is the ability to watermark, annotate, and redact some of these things.
Yep.
The
And
web preview is available on the mobile applications as well, so you'll see seamless integration there where you click the button to view the document and voila, it's all rendered in an iframe-like format within that mobile device. And so here we've got a couple screenshots of how this web preview tool looks. As you see, it's got a pop-up type of overlay with the entire web user interface in the background grayed out and shadowed. In this, as you can see on the left-hand pane, there's some of this search functionality that's taking place. So you can see U.S. Social Security number, USA phone number, email, postal code, etc. You can search for these specific types of data points and identify them very quickly within documents when needed.
yep. And over here in the top left, we've got a little magnifier, which is kind of nice. And then another cool thing about web preview is that you can not only view previews of shares, but also the content within the web portal. So it's a really great way to quickly see, oh, what does this Word document look like without having to download it.
Yep. And in addition to that as well, another use case is if you're taking a look at revisions. And oftentimes in many file sync and share tools, you have to download the revision and then take a look at it to determine, is this the comparison, or through my comparison, is this the one that I'm looking for? With our web preview tool, we're able to take a look and preview revision content as well. So when you see your list of revision history that might be 100 plus, you click through whichever one that you'd like, and it will immediately render it right then and there in front of your eyes.
Great. A couple quick questions here before we move on to number 5. So Amy is asking, regarding web preview, how long is the file being previewed cached on the server?
As the file is open, it is being cached on the server. Once we close it out, we actually can wipe that cache and it rolls. So it's a dynamic cache size that rolls, so as it's kind of like first in, first out, and as we continue to fill it up, we will be deleting and purging.
Cool. And then quick question here from Tim. I'll just go ahead and answer this. Tim is asking, can we see a demo of all these features? So one thing that we've done in this PowerPoint is we've hyperlinked a lot of things, and all of them lead to knowledge base articles. So when you get the PowerPoint version of the webinar, which we're going to send out today, you'll be able to just go through all the knowledge base articles and see videos of all these features.
Yep, and specifically the web preview tool has a great video. We've got our Dr. Ann Doring, who's an instructional designer here with eFolder. She put together some great videos that are very inviting and could even be repurposed from you as a partner to your end user clients if you'd like to.
Yep. All right, so what are some more underutilized features? We're at 11:30, so let's go through these as quickly as possible.
Certainly. So backup, be sure that you're taking advantage of the backup feature. By configuring or by installing the desktop client, you are opening up a world of opportunity to protect any file and folder on that machine. So you can go through the web user interface as an administrator or an end user and manage the creation of those backups, and you can restore them. So you could do local or remote backups and local or remote restores, and all is done either through the desktop application. You can right-click anywhere on the desktop and back up that folder, or you can do from the web user interface remotely, navigate through, traverse the directory structure to find specifically the folder that you want to back up. For mass revision rollback, this is a great feature that helps protect against ransomware. Essentially, when you've got certain things that take place where your content is locked, encrypted, or held for ransom, and you have to pay money in order to unlock it and regain access to your content, we can roll back to a revision of prior to the infection time within that directory. Furthermore, later on down the road, we've got this snapshot feature that we're going to be releasing, which is going to roll back every event, including deletes and moves and renames, not just file edits that have created revisions. And then also the remote wipe functionality, which is tried, tested, and proven in most applications. And ours is pretty snappy in the sense that we prompt you to make a decision on if you want to allow that content to stay on the device or actually delete it. So as an administrator, the use case would be terminate an employee or have an employee quit, and due to negative reasons, they have malicious intent, so I need to quickly log in and terminate their accounts and access to corporate data. You would be able to unlink the devices and then be presented with an opportunity to remote wipe. So whether they have mobile applications registered, desktop clients, Outlook plugins, etc., all of these things can be removed and dissolved from the system so that they are no longer able to log in. And in the future, real soon, we'll be releasing the ability to lock and unlock individual user accounts for security purposes as well.
Cool. So speaking of the future, Matt, what's next for Anchor?
Yeah, so very excited to talk to you guys about the real-time collaborative document web editing that we have. Many of you are aware of Google Drive, so we'll just throw that out there. Touted as an industry leader with the ability to present real-time collaborative web editing over documents. And what I mean by real-time is that Neeraj and myself can be simultaneously accessing and editing a document and seeing our edits appear in real time, synchronized at all times. And so whatever I'm doing on my workstation, Neeraj is seeing through his workstation and vice versa. And we have built that, and it is currently in testing, and we have a target to be delivering that within a few weeks. Looking at, obviously, a Q2 delivery for that, and we're very excited for it. We've got electronic signature workflows built within Anchor as well that we'll be looking to release shortly after that. And also the Office 365 Cloud Storage Partner Program integration. We've got that built. It looks great, and we'll be releasing that one soon as well. So as you can see here, we've got a lot of collaboration and productivity features that we're going to be delivering in this Q2, and we're very excited for them. So if you've got some feedback or some inquiries and you want to learn more, or you'd like to see a demo maybe of some of these things a little bit later on down the road prior to release, please contact your account managers, and we'll be happy to assist in providing more details.
Awesome. All right. Well, we're at just over 11:30. Quick question here that I wanted to take before we let you all get back to work. Jason is asking, why Anchor over Data Drive?
That's a great question because Anchor is a highly profitable solution and is focused on security and protecting your business productivity. Data Drive falls short in many of those aspects for the collaboration and productivity aspect. It is built on OwnCloud. It is an open source product, so you can trust that the Anchor team is focused on developing their own intellectual property built for the MSPs, whereas Data Drive is providing you rebranded, slightly customized open source software.
Awesome. Thanks, Matt. And yeah, I mean, there are many more benefits of Anchor over Data Drive that we don't have the time to cover today, but we are preparing lots of great marketing materials to really address, why Anchor is a superior solution over Data Drive and really any other filing tool out on the market. Great. So, well, we called this a quick take, so let's let you get back to work. But thank you all so much for joining us today. Matt, thank you again for providing your knowledge and your expertise.
Thank you, everyone, for your attendance and the great questions. I appreciate the opportunity to spend some time with you all. Thank you.
Yep. And just a reminder, again, everybody will be receiving a copy of the recording and the PowerPoint, so you can get all of those goodies later today. So thank you again very much, and have a great Cinco de Mayo and a great rest of your week.